Hello everyone and welcome to Voice of the Box. Okay, football fans, you ever wondered who's actually down here on the sidelines at NFL games doing the film work for NFL Films? Stay tuned. I got the guy coming up next on Voice of the Box. Welcome to Voice of the Box. I've got the great pleasure of Mark Allen from NFL Films joining me. I'm personally very excited about this. As a huge fan of NFL Films, watching them as a kid growing up. Mark, first of all, thanks for taking some time to talk to me right here in Voice of the Box. You know, NFL Films, legendary, obviously the storytellers of the league, as the Sable family likes to call it. Tell me how long you've been shooting.
That's the myth anyway.
Oh, the myth. Well, we'll get more into that, I guess, a little bit later. Tell me a little bit of background about how long you have been a camera operator, if that's even the right title. I want to make sure we get it accurate about how long you've been doing this.
For NFL Films, this is my 35th or 36th year. I kind of forget. I've been doing this for 41 years.
41 years. Wow. That's obviously an amazing run. There's obviously something that keeps you coming back each and every year. What is that one thing that keeps you coming and doing this?
Eating.
It's as simple as that. If you want to be a camera operator for NFL Films, just be hungry.
No, all kidding aside, I shoot for 60 minutes, HBO. I have a company that I operate with my wife. We do our own things, and this is fun. This is kind of like a busman's holiday, where I can get paid for doing something I like.
What's, just if we're looking at just, your role specifically with NFL Films, what kind of roles are there? There's multiple cameras that shoot, at every location. How do you quickly step me through what that looks like? You were, by the way, perched at the very highest vantage point here at Candlestick Park. How many camera operators are there at each game?
Normally there are two. There's one upstairs who's called top camera.
Okay.
And one on the ground who's a ground camera. I'm responsible for following the ball in every play, as close up or as tight as possible. So my frame starts generally tight end to tackle on the offense with a few defensive linemen in the frame. Offense on one side, defense on the other. Follow the ball. The ground cameraman is responsible for great shots on the ground of action. The famous shot of the ball spiraling in the air.
Tight on the spiral.
Pull back to the catch. He's also responsible for getting some reaction shots. Crowd sometimes, players on the sidelines, maybe if there's an injury to a key player, making sure he's covered coming off the field. Often, in the last few years, we've had what's called sync crews or sound crews on the field. There's a voracious appetite for sound at the NFL Network and at the other networks that broadcast the NFL games. That crew will consist of three people, sound man, an assistant cameraman, and a camera operator.
Okay.
And they stay on the sidelines, they shoot the benches. So they're at maybe 5 or 6 games with crews like that every week. And then 2 or 3 games a week we'll have what we call a wire, where a player or a coach has a wireless microphone that's hidden, and the camera operator is in a fixed position on a tripod, maybe across the field, maybe in the end zone, and with a sound person who's got the wireless receiver. And that's how you get that great sound from a huddle or a tackle. Right. You get the oomph and the bleeps and that kind of thing. So we have one tonight, but if I told you who it was, I'd have to kill you.
Well, I don't want that to happen, so I'm not going to ask. But tell me what it's like. You said it's a myth about, the storytellers of the league, all that kidding aside. What is it like, or what direction are you given either before the season or during the season from Mount Laurel, New Jersey? What kind of direction comes down to all of you guys that do this out in the field?
It's surprisingly rah-rah. We'll get a memo. The guys that have been doing this for a long time know what to do. But
sure.
Every year there's 1 or 2 little quirks we'll have to do. There's a lot of encouragement. Every game after it's transferred and used in the number of ways that NFL Films uses it, they'll send us a DVD of all the shots. So if you're up to it, you can go through the DVD and see how you've done. And the guys that are starting out, the guys that just had a few years, will be really monitored and encouraged and criticized by producers and the director of photography back in Mount Laurel.
Okay. In a nutshell, if we had to, just a couple of quick questions before we hit the last big one. Gut reaction answers to these questions. 41 years, what keeps you coming back? There's something that's obviously giving you a big joy. What is that?
It's a great way to make a living and have fun at the same time.
And I should have done it the other way around because I really don't like to look at things negatively, but what's the biggest challenge out of what you do?
I think the biggest challenge has always been travel. And I've traveled for a long time, and it's grueling and grinding, and it's gone all the way from the McGovern campaign in 1972, where I was gone 6 months straight, to just a quick trip with equipment, because you've always got equipment to worry about. You've always got to worry whether that equipment is made a flight.
Right.
You've got excess baggage to pay. You've got skycaps to tip, cars to rent, planes to run for. That's the biggest hassle of all that I've run into.
See, I wasn't seeing that one coming. I thought it would be something like weather related. I guess you're not encumbered by weather having to shoot all this film. I guess not.
Especially in the Bay Area. You know, a little rain sometimes won't hurt you.
And lastly, I always like to wrap up with more of an educational bent for students that are looking to, break into a variety of different fields within sports. This is very specialized camera work. This is not video. This is all on film. What kind of advice or pearls of wisdom maybe that you were given that stuck with you, or what would you transfer to someone else looking to maybe break into this type of a role?
Well, I was an athlete, and I had a father who started in the film business in the teens and went through the silent era and shot his last football in 1980. I would say if you're interested, and you're in high school, college, get a little video camera, talk the coach into letting you roam the sidelines and shooting. Watch NFL films, watch the network, see what they do. Try and mimic it as much as you can, get your own style. Put together what we call a reel, which would be the highlights of what you shoot.
Sure.
And then send it to somebody at film, send it to a local television station. I find that the men and women in our business, by and large, like to help people and like to look at things and critique and give little hints. Gotcha. So that would be my advice.
Now, Mark, what title do you either like to be called, or what is your official title? And I meant to ask that on the front end.
Official title here is
NFL Films.
NFL Films Camera Operator.
Okay.
Most of the time when I work on our own projects or when I have a crew I supervise for 60 minutes, I'm a director of photography.
Okay.
Kind of highfalutin term, but that's a term you see on feature films.
Right. A camera operator with NFL Films.
Today.
That
tonight,
being said,
yeah.
Mark, thank you very much for taking the time.
Man.
This is Mark Allen, NFL Films camera operator, right here on Voice of the Box.